Hi, I'm Catherine from the Diamond Painting Princess channel. Now this may look like just a normal plastic box, but I can assure you it's anything but. Inside this box are my favourite diamond painting tools. These accessories help to make diamond painting more enjoyable and really improve the quality of the final artwork. Today I'd like to show you some of my favourites. So let's get started. So let's start with diamond art pens. As we move through my toolkit, you'll notice that for each type of tool, I'll often have more than one variety for each one. And that's generally because I use them for different purposes. For diamond art pens, I've got the standard plastic ones with a metal tip, the molded plastic with a metal tip, and this cartridge system where the wax is within the pen and you wind it to advance more wax when you need to reload. So starting with the standard diamond art pen, these are plastic with a metal tip, and on the other end you can place a multi-placer tool or a straightening tool. I have a variety of colours depending on my mood, whether it's for sparkles or for purple. Now these are quite thin and a lot of people don't like holding them because they are so thin. You can put a grip on it to make it easier, but a lot of people still find that if they're doing long periods of diamond art, it becomes a little uncomfortable. Personally, I don't mind them, and I actually use them when I'm just doing a short session of diamond art and I'm just picking up one diamond at a time. This diamond art pen here is quite nice to hold. It has a metal tip and it also has metal multi-placer tools on the other end, and you can also put on a roller or a straightening tool. So these ones are more ergonomic. They're more like holding a real pen. They also look a bit more luxurious and they are nice to use. And this is the cartridge-based pen system. So it looks and feels very much like a normal pen. I also really like the idea of having the wax within the pen because instead of having to keep putting it into the wax pad, you can simply give it a turn when it needs to be reloaded. The main issue I've found with this pen is that the wax is quite sticky. So when you put it on the diamonds, often you have some residual wax on the diamond which has to be removed, otherwise it will reduce the sheen. However, it is very sticky, so if you are someone who loves the sound of diamonds being placed and that popping sound as the pen is removed, then this is potentially the way to go because I find it has the best sound because it is so sticky. So I don't know if you can hear it now. But it definitely makes a louder sound than the other pen options. So overall, most of the time I would use this pen because it's the most comfortable and it gives good options, but I certainly use the standard pens quite frequently as well. All right, so now moving on to trays. You can see here that I have a selection of different trays, which again are for different purposes. Now this one here is what I would say is a more standard tray and what I use for a lot of the time when I'm diamond painting. So you can see that you can fit a reasonable amount of diamonds in it. And it works well just to shake them around and put them in nice little rows. All right, now moving up to this one, you can see that it is much larger and also has wider sides. It also has the spout that allows you to pour them out. So let's compare how many diamonds you can fit in it to the smaller one. So we tip all those in. That kind of looks like a drop in the ocean compared to this big tray. So I'll add some more. Probably add almost a whole bag into this. And you can see you can fit a lot more diamonds in and have a lot more lined up at a time. Now this system here I really like the idea of. It has a lid, it's got a big inside section, and it has this stopper here. So what I often experience is when I'm shaking my diamonds around, particularly with this one that's smaller with the spout, often some of them will sneak out the end like that. This one here, it's a similar size, but it has the stopper in it. So when you're shaking them around to line them up, they're not going to go flying out. But you can remove the stopper when you want to return them to the bag. So again, line them all up like that. Now this one has the lid on it. So if you're doing a diamond art project over time and you want to keep that diamond color out, you can simply put the lid on and that will keep them safe from spillage. Now these ones here are the very basic ones that you tend to get in kits, and I have them, but not to use for diamond art. So these ones, I keep two, and a little trick is, if you have diamonds that for some reason have become stuck together, you put them in the bottom tray, you put the top tray on top, push them down and crinkle them apart, and when you open it up, you'll find that they've largely been separated out. So that's the use of these little trays, but they're very small and very shallow, so they're not the best for actually doing diamond art. Now, I would use this tray here if I'm just doing some diamond art, and I'm going to use a color for a relatively small section like some of the purples here. That would be adequate for that. Now, if I'm using a multi-placer tool, I would definitely want to use this one, because if you only have the diamonds in here, you will be constantly reshaping it to try to line them up for the multi-placer tool. At least here, you'll have plenty of longer rows, so you'll be able to get a good amount of multi-placing done before you have to reshape it. This one here, I would use, now I do have a selection of them. So I would use these. If I was doing a relatively large diamond art and there was a section that had predominantly, say, 4 colors that I was working on. So what I could do is just put the 4 different colors into these. And then after the session, I can simply put the lid on, keep them out and ready to go for the next session without having to put them back into the bag and then put them back into trays the next day. Just so you can see how this one works, I've got the bag here. To return the diamonds to the bag, you pull out the stopper. You can see the diamonds. We'll just go back in quite easily. And they've even got the covering over the top, so there's less spillage than there are with the other systems. And I've left the big tray out since now I'm moving on to multi-placer tools. So you can have plastic or metal tips. With this molded plastic pen, I've got metal tips, and multi-placer tools can have room for up to 10 diamonds at a time. They do take a little bit of time to get used to, so I must admit I'm not up to placing 10 diamonds at a time. I feel quite comfortable using the 3-head multi-placer tool. Now, things to remember when using the multi-placer tool is that it's good to have the big tray, because then you can have lots of diamonds lined up. But also you really need to have the diamonds not neatly placed in the rows all up against each other in order to have them connect nicely to the tip. Now, when you're then placing them onto your diamond art, try to place them down straight, because it's a little bit more challenging than if you're using a single tip. But if you find that they're not quite straight, you can always nudge them into the correct alignment using the head of the multi-placer tip. So these are removable, and so therefore you can even have a couple going at once. So that's the 3 diamond multi-placer tool on one end, and this end I'll try the 6-place multi-placer tool. So again, just make sure you've got 6 diamonds lined up neatly in your tray. Try to connect them together, and then place them down as neatly as you can. And there you go. I think I'm getting better at it. So they definitely do save a lot of time when you have big sections, and with a bit of practice, they do get a lot easier. I personally like the metal tips. Part of it is the feel and part of it is simply the look, but you can also get plastic multi-placer tips which you can put onto your basic pens like this one here. This is a 3 diamond multi-placer tip, and it also works very well. I just admit I like the look and feel of this one slightly better, particularly for multi-placing. So next in my toolkit is washi tape. So some people use this, some people don't. I must admit I don't often use it, and there's different reasons to use it, but one common one is that around the outside of the canvas, beyond where the diamonds are, you will still have some of the adhesive on the canvas area. Now, depending on what you're doing and what you're wearing, that can potentially pick up lint. So if you're wearing a fuzzy jumper and you put your arm on it, that will likely pick up some lint. Also, if you like to eat while you're doing diamond art, crumbs can accumulate in that area. So in order to cover that glue to stop it from picking up lint and just looking a bit unpleasant, you can use the washi tape and you can apply it all the way along the edge right up against where the diamonds go. So it goes on like that. And then you just cut it off, and that way you've covered the exposed glue beyond where the diamonds go. So I don't always use it, but it is a good idea if you're prone to accumulating lint on the sides, just to keep it looking nice. Here are my tweezers. I must admit I don't use them very often because I have fingernails that allow me to simply remove any diamonds that are placed in the wrong position. However, if you don't have nails or would prefer to be a little bit more precise, here are some tweezers to remove diamonds in the wrong place and put them into the right position. People sometimes also use them if there's a small space to put a diamond in, right in between a whole lot of other diamonds that have already been placed. They might find it easier to use the tweezers to place that diamond. And now we move on to the different types of wax. So in my diamond kit, I have blue, purple and red wax, and basically they are all the same. They are just different colors depending on my mood for the day. They all work about the same, and generally most wax is similar in consistency. I have had a few along the way that have been a bit stiff and difficult to get into the pen, but most of them are fine. Now here we have a different alternative to wax, which is blue tack. So this is a bit thicker, and the advantage of using blue tack is firstly that you don't have residue that sticks to the diamonds generally like you can have with wax. And the second thing is that you have to reload it a lot less often. So once it's in, it lasts for quite a long time, and it's sticky, so that's how it sticks to diamonds. So this pen, you may or may not be able to see, has blue tack in it. And I'll show you how it works with the diamonds. So basically it feels the same as picking up the diamonds with wax, but it just is a little bit cleaner. The most difficult part of using blue tack, I find, is actually putting it into the pen, loading it in the first place. But once you've got it in, it actually can be a very good system. Next to my supplies for diamond art storage, and I think that the choice that you go with depends on your diamond art kit and how the diamonds are provided, but also on your personality. So I see a lot of people, they get their diamonds when they first start, they put them all into little containers like this. They label them all with these little plastic labels or directly onto the container. That is why I have my pen here in case I need to do that. I have them all lined up, all perfect, ready to start, and are super organized. Sadly, I am not that meticulous. I wish I was, but that I think is a great system if that's the way that you're inclined, and particularly if your diamond art comes with the diamonds in these little bags that you have to cut open. That's the reason for the scissors, and that way you can take them all out at once, get it over and done with, and label them all. However, nowadays, the diamond art kits that I get come with the diamonds in these bags, which are labeled with the number corresponding to the symbol key, and in that case, I don't even bother taking them out. I just leave them in their numbered bags. I get one large sample bag like this. I put all my diamonds in. They all fit in one bag, which I can just chuck them all in when I'm finished, like this. Keeps them all safe. And then I can even throw in my diamond pen, tray and wax when I'm finished for the day. And I can just keep that next to my canvas and I'm ready to go for that particular diamond art. That is a quick and easy way. It's not for everyone, but I just do that nowadays because it's so easy. Okay. Next, we are moving on to the tools which I love and I think are super important, but potentially maybe a little underrated. And those are the tools that you use to finish off the project. So once all the diamonds are placed, the project is not at all finished. That is the opportunity to really finish it off to make it look just right. So the first ones I've got here are two different types of rollers. So when you're placing diamonds, sometimes the diamond can be placed a little bit too close to the diamond next to it. And what that means is that it's on an angle and it isn't adhering completely to the glue. Now, that can be enough to keep it in place for now, but over time, that diamond is at a high risk of falling off. So what's really important is after finishing the project to roll over it with a roller to make sure that every diamond is completely flat on the canvas and therefore properly adhered. So these are just 2 different types of rollers that you can use. They both, I think, are equally effective. I personally like this one. It's just simpler and easier because it fits in my kit with this diamond art pen handle. Another tool which I find super helpful in the finishing off stages is this straightening tool. So when I'm diamond painting, I will ultimately find a lot of diamonds at the end that are not perfectly straight, and it looks better if they are as straight as possible. So you can just use a ruler, but I find this very simple tool to be exceptionally helpful. So you just push along the sides to make everything straight, and then you go down every row and just put it in to make sure that everything's lined up just so, and it makes such a big difference. So even here, where I was placing diamonds before, they're certainly not straight. So I'm just gonna put this in here and make everything nice and straight at the moment. I'll do that as I'm going sometimes, but then I definitely do it at the end to make sure that everything is exactly where it should be. And you can really see a big difference just from using this straightening tool and placing it over the whole canvas when you're finished. It makes everything so much straighter, and it's super easy to use. So those were my favorite diamond painting tools. I would love to hear what your favorites are. Please put them down below in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing to the Diamond Painting Princess channel. For more resources or to explore the range of Diamond Painting Princess diamond art kits, please visit us at www.diamondpaintingprincess.com. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and happy diamond painting!